And we are live. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another live stream. This is Why It Matters again. Hoping that everyone is doing very, very well this evening. How's everyone going? I can see already some people in the chat. Can you please let me know how the sound is? Unstoppable Force, how's it going? Your avatar's looking very menacing, which is fitting with some of the views I've been hearing from you earlier today and just in general. Skittles Man Reloaded, how's it going? What's up? That's it, man. Chill with the world domination plan. Jeez. Eunice Osman, how's it going? How's everyone keeping? I hope everyone's well. Again, let me know how the sound is in the chat. Press a 1 if you can hear me loud and clear. I just want to make sure I'm coming through all good. So I do appreciate you. And awesome. You can hear me. Awesome. So, because my sound, I don't know what it is. My sound, how I'm hearing it, it's not as crisp as I'm used to it. So I don't know if it's just me. It probably is. But if you can hear me, that's all good with me. But the reason for the impromptu live stream, you've seen the title of this video, and I'm not going to labor long. I want to open the panel up. I don't want it to be necessarily a long, drawn-out stream. I just wanted to get each and basically your viewpoints. I'm going to share my viewpoints on what I've just read and some of the things which I've done. And I thought, geez, Louise, here we go again. So there were two stories which I picked up in over the last couple of days, and I was going to do again some videos on it before. You know what? No, let's do a live stream just so I can really flesh out my thoughts, because when I do pre-recorded, it's all, you know, nicely cut out script and all this kind of other stuff. I thought, no, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's just be raw with it. So the BBC have offered or offering jobs to non-white people in Glasgow. So it looks as if the BBC are offering their jobs for, they call them obviously BAME, Black, Asian, ethnically diverse candidates. So that's code word for non-white. And it's a job created by, you know, or posted by Creative Access. And it's apparently a firm that it seeks to increase the minority representation in the media of arts. Now, it is a job posting in Glasgow, and the job, just the wages is not that good. So the wage is 17, just under 18K per year. So it's not as if it's a high paying job. It's just a trainee job. It's something which a lot of people want to get into the business. They start off there. But the point of concern, the issue which I want to raise, what I want to talk about, and this is what I want to get everyone's viewpoint on, is this the right way to go about it? And would you, if you knew, because this is blatant, this is not like it's code, this is not like one of these tokenism jobs where no one actually know, we guessed, but we didn't know whether he was hired because you were black. Do you feel comfortable accepting a job purely because of the color of your skin, knowing that you may have not been the best person for the job? Because I've been going a little bit back and forth with this in my own head, because, you know, we always talk about how we as a community need to, you know, get to where we need to get to. We talk about how we need to hire our own people, and we talk about this, and that's kind of, let's be honest, a form of discrimination. If we talk about our own firms, our own business, we want to hire our own people, then surely that's just a form of discrimination, is it not? But we seem to justify it because it's on the grounds of economic stability, economic growth. It's on the grounds of the black community needs this. So we sort of justify it. I get it. But in this situation here, do you see it as the same thing? Do you see it as a thing which makes us look good? Do you see it as something which is an ego booster? Because if you had known right now, people who are working, people in their jobs, if you knew that you got your job purely because of the color of your skin, how would you feel? Would you care? Would you be like, you know, nah, it don't make no difference to me. I got the job. I'm here. Here it is. White people do this all the time. They're nepotism. They hire the people who they know. Because, by the way, that is all true. It's not as if, and not just a white thing, but just, it's a lot of times I get told this is not what you know, it's who you know. So it's not as if in the real world, people don't have these cute and clever ways how they get their job roles. If you look at particularly senior management, because I'm close to it, but not that close to senior. But in senior management, a lot of the times they're hired, and it's like, hold on a second, there's no job posting, there's no CVs that are being checked. It's a case of just, well, we know you, and you know you have these qualifications, or you're part of the team, you're part of the firm. We know you from here, we know you from here. Therefore, it's the face fits. As long as your face fits, and people have been doing that since day dot when. So I'm like this. On one hand, I'm thinking to myself, this would be I hate pity. It would be a complete pity job, which I hate. But then at the end of the day, I'm thinking, well, hold on a second. At the end of the day, I got the job. I'm in the job. Why not take it? If it's something I need to feed my family, is that not the sort of the feeling is that not the ultimate feeling that you are? So that's what I kind of want to get your thoughts on, because I'm just looking at it thinking, this is not the first time I'm hearing about this kind of stuff. It's happening in the entertainment industry. So over the last year, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but you've had loads of jobs when it comes to Sky Sports, media jobs, Micah Richards, Clinton Morrison. You had a lot of shift, and it's caused a lot of rift, because this is what it's caused right now. This job posting, as much as the second part, which I'm going to talk about in a second, it's caused a lot of rift between, as you can imagine, the wider demographics. Why? Because they see it as just another form of racism. We always called it reverse racism, reverse discrimination, but it's still the same thing. You're discriminating against another person. So it's causing a lot of rift within a lot of the wider demographics, because they're seeing it as, well, you only got that job because fill in the blank. You only got that job because fill in the blank. And truth be told, they see you as not good enough. And that's the next thing. Are they also setting you up for a fall? Because if you do get the job and you're not qualified for it, guess what the next step is going to happen? You may actually not be good enough to actually succeed in that role, which means you as an individual is going to feel marginalized, because people know why you got that job, number one. So you're not going to have people who's going to have your back. Number two, you're going to be set up to fail because you can't do the job. So not only are you going to feel marginalized from the people in there, you're going to not be able to do the job because you're not qualified for it. And then number three, ultimately, it's going to fail. And then guess what's going to happen? The intention, and this is what this is now, the intention to correct an inequality or correct a fault, it becomes a bigger issue, which is now not only can you not keep somebody of a certain hue or ethnic or whatever background you're looking to keep, but now there's going to be bullying claims, racism claims. There's going to be a wide range of things which now you're going to have to navigate, which is the second part of the stream, which is about how, and this is hilarious when I saw this. So apparently, Goldsmith University are allowing students to delay their exams if they've suffered racial trauma. Now, this is what I never understood this thing, because again, this is just, again, I would love to hear your viewpoints as you see this. Do you see this as condescending? Because what they're saying is, students, if they've, and I don't know what the citing racial trauma, in the article, they don't actually state an example of what they call racial trauma. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they can't cope. I don't know if someone said something out of turn. I've got no idea. But Goldsmith University in Southeast London are basically saying they are allowing their students, as long as they will go through the proper process, to postpone their exams. So again, this is a situation now where you're in a situation where you're potentially not good enough, and now you get a further excuse to delay your exams, because it's now like the hand-holding. This is where I'm talking about that condescending pity job. And that's what I want to know. Do you see this as just being a situation where, do you know what? They're almost admitting to us that we can't actually do it on level playing field. Now, again, I want to know, do you care? Do you even care? But that's what it sounds like to me when I hear these things. It sounds as if we can't operate on a level playing field, because the intention, it's always the intention. It sounds good. They want to level the playing field. They want to make sure that everyone has a fair opportunity. But also, it's like they're saying to us, we don't have the ability to be able to perform because they need to do these things. And this is sort of where I'm at with things. I'm like, at one hand, I'm like, I don't care. Once I have that job, I have that job. Once I'm in that situation, I'm going to use it. But then I'm like, well, hold on a second. Does that not hurt your ego? Especially like as a man. I'm just going to be honest with you. As a man, I'm like this. If I know I got the job, I didn't deserve it. That hurts my ego more than anything, because I'm like this. No, fuck that. I am good enough to be in this role. Now, again, we could talk about, people accept roles all the time, not good enough. And I agree with that. But I'm talking about for me personally, that would dent my ego. And I'm like this. If I knew now that I got my job because of my role, I'd have some serious reservations. I'm serious. And even now I'm thinking this, and this is what a lot of people are thinking. This is where you have the backlash. A lot of people are saying this when it comes to a lot of ethnic minority, particularly black people. Let's keep it real. When they're in certain roles, they're now saying the only reason why you got that role is because you were the token, got that positive discrimination, and you were not good enough. So a lot of people are saying, you know what, I don't feel like you're worthy enough. They second guess you, but that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of situations where a lot of black people are getting undermined in their role because they're perceived as only getting the role because they are black, even though they could well be, and they probably are, good enough for that role. So this is where you have that whole racial dynamics. When I was listening to a woman who was a doctor, and she was saying that a lot of people treated her really badly and unfairly because they told her the only reason why you're in this role is because you have to fill a certain quota. And this is sometimes where I'm like, is that going to be something which you guys give a shit about? Do you care? Is it going to backfire on us? Is this something which you can justifiably say, do you know what? I can lift my head high and this is exactly how it is. And this is kind of what I want to discuss today. I mean, again, I'm seeing people in the chat. I just want to say hello to chat. KB Jones, how's it going? Lord Angleton, how's it going? Fiona, welcome to the chat. Make sure you like the stream once you're in here. But that's what I want to know. I want to open the panel really early because, again, I didn't want this to necessarily be a long thing. But what I'm seeing, there's a pattern here that I'm seeing, and there's quite a few articles that I didn't want to go all the way into it, but it's a pattern that's emerging where it seems as if, to me, a condescending approach has been taken in order to what they call rectify any racial gaps, rectify any gender gaps. And what I believe is going to happen is the opposite. It's going to create more issues where people who necessarily can't make the grade, make the role, they're going to end up putting themselves in a position where they get more stress. They're going to put themselves in a position where they can't do the role, and they're just going to be absolutely isolated in the same role. And again, people are going to treat him shit. Let's be honest. They're going to say, well, you'd have got the role because da-da-da-da. And I'm like, is this how we want to go down? Is this how we want to rectify the situation? Because Chinese people aren't asking for this sort of stuff. I mean, again, let me know your thoughts. So, yeah, KB Jones, man, welcome to the stream. How are you today?
Good evening, sir. How are you? I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well today, man. Doing well. Thought I'll start off. I kicked it off with a nice live one, impromptu. So thanks for joining, man. But yeah,
no, cool. I noticed. Right. I was saying this in the chat now. Coming from me, this might surprise you. I'm not even gonna take up long, but I do want to say this. I've seen what you're talking about. I'm really glad you brought this up. Now, to be honest, me in general, I would have been someone who would have been all the way going with what you said. Things like our ego, it's them pitying us, it's condescending. I do agree, it is all of those. But to be honest with you, I've got to the point where, do you know what? If we're going to get certain roles, qualifications, go into certain establishments because of our color, do you know what? It's about, you know what? We can't even, I don't think it's even worth worrying about the ego anymore. Because to be honest, there was a point where we couldn't enter these establishments because of our color. So if they're going to flip it round, and yes, I do agree, they are fitting certain quotas and they're trying to be PC and etc. Do you know what? At this point, I don't even care. F your feelings at this point. Because yeah, bro. Because look, I agree. Not all of us are gonna have the mentality and the fortitude to get into these roles and want to be the best at them. That's fine. But to be honest, I don't think we really have to be worrying about that right now. Right now, we need numbers and representation. So if we can get a bunch of us through the door, if it's through a quota or pity or condescension, to be honest with you, I don't care. Because again, I went to a mainly Asian school. I know many people that have had handouts, certain points cheated, cut corners, white and Asian people.
And this is why I was a bit.
I don't.
This is why I was a bit mixed on it. Yo, yeah, KB. This is why I was a little bit mixed on it because I'm like, you know what? We act as if this doesn't happen to like white other people. Like, is that as if other people have? Oh, you're the son of this. You're the daughter of this. So I'm like, I'm in two minds sometimes. So I'm in two minds. So, but yeah, continue.
That's cool, bro. I've seen it all the time. Like, you know what I mean? I've worked for establishments and I've seen the owner's granddaughter, like, and it's like, who's she? And she's like one of the heads, and like, bruv, people do it all the time. And I don't care whether they act like they do it or whether they don't. That's not really our problem. We're too busy worrying about how we look. Well, if we look at the big picture, we're looking pretty bad. So right now we need numbers. Once we get the numbers in there, then we can distinguish who's got the kahunas to take it to the next level. And then we can just start splitting them apart. But first of all, we need we're too far behind to even worry that far. We need a structure of work ethic. We don't even have that basic thing down. That's one thing I can give other races. Yeah, they do cheat, but they know how to stick it in on the basic level. We get issues at the basic level and we fall. Because to be honest, it's 2021. We know there's systemic racism. We know people don't like us. We know people think a certain thing of us. So what are we going to do about it? We're going to sit here and moan, or we're going to jump in the race?
No, man, I hear you.
That's
I
what I wanted to
definitely hear you, man. I hear you. So, no, thanks for your words, KB. And I'm definitely going to
No
come back
worries,
to you.
no worries.
Okay, so here we go. Unstoppable Force, man. What's going on? You've been on a tear, so I already know this is going to be interesting. Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so I just want to say I hope everyone's good. You know, you good, KB? What's going on? Everyone, Aussie, why it matters.
Yeah, good, man.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, man. I just want to say, you know, it's an interesting topic, and you know, KB said something interesting about he seen, you know, he went to all Asian school, white people, and seen Asian people cut corners, and you know, maybe cheat. I mean, I've had a guy when I was at school. He cheated on the GCSE. You know, this is a guy who comes from a rich Pakistani family. He's like a professional cricket player. He's always up his ass. Now, you know, he cheated on his GCSE. He told me he paid someone to do his GCSEs or something like that. I was like, what?
Really, man?
I know people that are cheating. I've said this even before. I said some people have to chop people's fingers off because we live in a scam generation now, a scammy generation. That everyone's doing the scams now, and even in school, the GCSEs, they've changed it to they've got. Sorry, what?
Nothing. Sorry, continue.
They've got another GCSE called IGCSE. I don't know if you heard of that. Which is Oxford Standard GCSE, which is a GCSE you could do, like adult could do if they want to retake their GCSEs, which I'm looking to do. Actually, I want to retake the maths, but this GCSE is a lot harder than the actual GCSE because people are actually cheating in GCSEs now. They're finding ways to get A's. Because I've said this before, when it comes to maths, for example, you don't need to be good at maths to get A. You just have to understand the formulas. You just have to drill it in your brain.
Yep,
a lot of people don't understand that. You understand? So we live in a world where it's not really hard. Like I just got a job today in IT. I start on Monday now.
Congrats, by the way. Congrats.
Thank you very much. And I'm the only black guy there. And the person that was working before me is a black guy who's dark skinned. I'm taking advantage of that opportunity. I'm going to do my master's degree. You know, yes, you know, maybe, you know, some people cheat on their CV, they lie, but once you get it, you want to take advantage.
So on top of course, knowing that you got that job, the IT job, let me put it to you then. If I told you got that job because you had to replace a black person to keep that number up, what would you tell me? Would you be fine with that?
I'll be fine with that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because the guy that was that left, he's moving on to Amazon now. He's working for Amazon, and he's probably going to be. I don't know how much money he's be making, but Amazon pays big money for IT. So, and the employers that hired me were white. They were Anglo-Saxon 101, you know, and they like the guys like, yeah, you know, I make my like, yeah, all that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? He employed me. He liked me. You know, there's people that worked there before that tried to take advantage. I'm joining that, and I'm gonna rise to the occasion. I'm gonna do the best I can do. So you can either make excuses and cry about your skin color and all this stuff, you know, or you can cheat. I recommend cheating. I think you should cheat. If the white guy's cheating, the Asian guy cheats, you cheat as well, man. Stop this nonsense. Oh, let me just like be legit. Let me just do legit. Fuck that, man. Just fucking cheat. Rush clap, bomber clap, cheat. Okay, and shut your mouth. Okay, and do what you need to do. So
I think
straight.
I hear you, man. I think we do need to be more ruthless in the right way, in the right reasons. Need to be more ruthless. But but yeah, okay. I'm just interested to see exactly if that's gonna backfire on that person because you just be a duck out of water. But no, I hear you, Supple. It sounds right up your street, man. So I thought to myself, yeah, you wouldn't even care. You'd be like, yo, just step through this. I gotta do what I gotta do to get where I need to get to. So no, I hear you. And yeah, Fiona, you've been in chat saying all's fair in love and war. I hear you. At the end of the day, it's not fair how this world was created. It's not fair how this world is. So what can I say? Life is not fair. It never was fair. Never will be fair. So So yeah, I'm definitely gonna come back to you both on this. Ozzy, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah. It's in regards to the BBC and the job creation in Glasgow and all that. I find it to be quite interesting because most of the ethnic minorities in the UK live in England, and there's hardly any in Glasgow. I mean, there's hardly any in Scotland in general.
I think mostly Asians will be there, won't they? If there are minorities.
Yeah, but like it's really, really small in comparison to England. Like I'll probably say in the low single digits.
I think it is small, but then again, it can move. So people who are up in the north, like Manchester or Liverpool, they may be able to go there because obviously nowadays jobs you can move for jobs. So it's not as if they have to be in Scotland to get the job. But I get what you're saying. It's not like it's not overflowing with what do we call it? Ethnic minorities. I do get that.
Yeah, so and I'm assuming is it HR positions?
No, it's a creative position. It's for their what do we call it? Media and the arts. So it's to do with that kind, not HR, but it's just the media and the arts type position, trainee position, production management assistant position.
It sounds interesting, to be fair. I think that for them to actually say, it's for ethnic minorities and stuff like that. I to be fair, yeah, I feel comfortable with that. They should be saying, it's for people that are, they should be race neutral when it comes to stuff like that. But I do understand the importance of hiring, diverse group of people. But at the same time, it has to be paramount that, I understand that most corporations, they have that, the diversity, so-called quota and all that, but they shouldn't be saying it out loud. They should be saying they're hiring people who are the best.
Oh, so you believe they should be more subtle with it? You think
they should be subtle, to be fair, because now I think it's illegal. I think I don't specialize in law or anything like that, but it does open a door in regards to legal aspects and all that.
Now that's a good point. They did
say. Can I reply to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry to cut you off. Hi Ozzy. I agree with what you're saying, yeah, but the problem is we've got to a point where I know what you mean. I would prefer if it was subtle as well. I don't really like the announcement of it, but to be honest, I come to the realization it's got to the point where there's no middle ground, because their version of subtle is when people like board members, or bear in mind, even things like recruitment. I've worked in recruitment. Their version of subtle is, I'm not going to look at your CV because I don't like your name. That's their version of subtle. There's no middle ground when it comes to us. This is what we have to start getting. Right? There's no middle ground. It's either we do it this way or we do it the other way. And the other way, unfortunately, you see the guy that got the job or whoever's getting the job, they could be the best person, but we've seen this so many times. They likely
but you cut it out.
Especially in a place like Scotland, like you say, there's hardly any ethnic minorities.
Sorry, was that just me? I heard KB cutting in and out. Was that just me, or?
Yeah, that is. Your audio is cutting out. Yeah,
because we have to realize, with this, they can't see, right? And I would rather take in front of them. Oh, mine.
All right, yeah, I think it was behind as well. I think it was kind of behind.
I actually want to say this. I did live in Scotland for a semester. Actually, there are some black people there.
Yeah, I thought there would be, because Emily Sandé, the singer, she's half Scottish and half, I think her father's African. So it's not as if I've heard, and there's another person who went to Ghana. She was again mixed race. I think her name's something Canby. She's always on like Wadamaya show. But yeah, there are minorities in Scotland, so it's not as if they can't fill the position. But Ozzy, I wanted to ask you.
I understand. But in regards to the second topic, in regards to the university students and all that in Goldsmith, I think it's quite interesting, to be fair, because most of the students and all that, they are actually doing their work, doing dissertations. I'm actually doing my dissertation right now.
In Luton.
Dissertation.
No, you said Goldsmith University in Luton.
Yeah, Southeast London.
Yeah, I live in Southeast London. I find it to be quite interesting because I remember last year in the wake of George Floyd, death and all that, you had Oxford University students that, didn't do their exams. They felt, they were experiencing a racially traumatic event in their life and all that.
Oh my gosh. Go on. Sorry, go on.
I think that, to be a victim, it's a social status in a way. You get validated.
And this is it.
You can have a woman in Oxford University who speaks, who's from a middle class background and it has a plummy accent, like, in one of those posh Oxford accents. Yeah. And she will say, "You don't know what it's like for women like me." And all that.
I just want to say,
and the thing is, it just, Vincent said it. It does sound a bit pathetic, though, and I get it. It's like, screw it. If I have to do what I have to do, I get it. But it's like, as a man, that's why I said, as a man, isn't like I know pride comes before the fall, but flipping heck, I'm like this. Unstoppable force. Your ego, your male ego, would that allow you to say, racial tension? I don't know. Is that your pride? Would you not let you do that? Your pride?
Nah, I would never do that. Never. I'll never complain about racism, because you know what? I've always had the techers, man, since I was 20. Man, I've always had skills. And saying, when I went to a job interview, I started to cut my own hair by myself. Even when I was applying to jobs, I only applied to permanent IT jobs, not no contract rubbish. Because some people say when you join IT, it's contract.
Yeah.
And if I listened to that rubbish, I would have succumbed to that. But it's not like that. This is the thing. This is when you don't have game, you don't have techers, you don't have skills. You're not gonna do nothing, man. Because I know one guy, that was on the course, a Somali guy, and he had good skills, man. But he's working a contract job, and where he lives, he can get a permanent job. Why is he in a contract job? He didn't want a contract job, so he's being taken advantage of. You understand? This is the problem. Some people are too scared to try and scam. Okay, you're too scared. That's why I'm glad I'm a psychopath. I'm a narcissist, because I can do what I want. That's what I have to say.
But here's what I'm going to say, though. Here's what I'm going to say on that, though. I don't know if you believe in karma. And this is sometimes we're going to get to. I know it sounds esoteric, but a lot of black people are spiritual. Now, don't you believe that karma is going to get back to you and bite you right where you don't want to? Because here's the thing. Why you get that job because of, nefarious reasons, equally, it's like the pretty woman who she gets a job in the media because she's pretty, and she ousts the old woman. And the pretty woman's like, I don't care. I got a job because of my looks, but I don't care. Until she gets older, and then another pretty woman comes in and takes her job. Now she's crying, ageism, this, that, and the other. And they're like, well, hold on a second. You got the exact same job the same way, but now you're complaining. Do you not see the same situation in this case?
Yeah, and that's because this is the problem. There's a lot of people who are narcissists in denial. They don't realize that they're just very selfish, that they don't realize they have a mental condition where they just want more, and they're willing to do anything and everything to get it. It's similar to people who sell drugs. A lot of people who sell drugs, to even sell drugs, you have to have this mentality of, I don't care about the person that I'm giving the drugs to. I don't care about robbing people. I don't care. Because remember, a lot of these guys, they do nasty things.
Yep.
Nasty things, and they never get caught. So
I know, but that's clearly illegal activity. This is a proper job. And the thing is also, this isn't just in the job field. This is like in every field. I've seen it when it comes to another thing I've saw is in the educational field, because black people aren't getting the type of degrees in terms of 2-1s or first in the same way of white people. They're even looking to try and artificially increase the grades. So now we're gonna have a situation where you have a lot of black people who didn't get the right grades, but they're gonna, we have to get so many black people getting the first, so many black people getting a 2-1 just to match and compete with white people. It's in every aspect that's going on. I can show you some articles, which I can happily do so. But
there are actually a lot of people that have like first class. I'm one of the people that have first class in my undergraduate.
In what subject?
Accounting, finance.
Okay.
So, and did they get and I say this, do you get like a 2 first, or was it a situation where I don't know, you got like a 2-1, but they bumped it up to a first, or is it just a legit first?
Well, me.
Was it
I got legit first.
Okay.
Most of the modulars, I got a first class and all that.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to insult you or anything, but the reason I'm saying it is just because right now what they're doing is everything is geared. And the thing is, this is it. I don't think people are going to care because they got what they wanted, and that's kind of where I'm hearing from both of you. You guys are like, you know what? Fuck this. The world isn't fair. If this is what it's going to be, this is what it's going to be. But I'm just saying, this is how the game is being played right now, and it's just like part of me is thinking, do you know what? Black people need to just take advantage of it. Just, you know what? Fuck it. Take advantage of it. Do whatever. But I'm like, are we going to be setting ourselves up for the biggest fall we've ever seen in our lives, where we can't do the job that we're supposed to be, and we're just ill-equipped, and now we're just going to be absolutely horrible at what we're doing in life?
You know what? I will say though, you know, this is what I found, you know, and this is stuff I realized within the last year and a half, man. It don't really matter. There's a guy I know. Okay, I'm not going to mention his name. He was on another stream. He's a Ghanaian, a year younger than me, and he actually got a first in computer science. Now, even though he got a first, he doesn't work the job that he wants to get. He's not in the job he wants to get. He said white people don't hire him. He said only Asians hire him. He's complaining about racism. Then he blocked me, and Vincent knows this guy. I mean,
I think I know this. I think
yeah. He blocked me, and you could just see from the way that he's texting why he didn't get the job, why he's not in the job he wants. Okay, it don't matter what grade you get at degree level. If you don't have charisma, if you don't know how to talk, if you don't know how to maneuver in the way you speak, if you just don't know how to do that, okay, you don't have good body language, you don't know how to dress, you don't know how to groom, you don't know how to direct the situation, and I'm talking from a man's perspective, you know, then you are going to fail at life. It don't matter what grade you get, because I know people that are in jobs that pay more than people that have really good grades at uni, and they don't have any degree. So this is the thing. People, it's like for example, someone trying to attract, like, let's say, attract girls with their money or something. Just because you have money and all this shit doesn't mean you're gonna get girl you want. Same concept. So it's just people making excuses and you know, making excuses for them not being in the position they want to be in. And yes, maybe there is a little bit of racism. There's a little touch of racism there, but you can actually overcome that and actually get the job, even if the person is racist. I actually believe that. I know that sounds crazy, but I actually believe that.
Now that's interesting, because I'm thinking to myself, why would a racist hire somebody? You know what I mean? It's like, talk me through that. Are you thinking it's just because you're, like you said, you got techers, you just got the skills, you know what to do, you know how to maneuver? So you're saying a known racist wouldn't care because at the end of the day, you have the skills to be able to make sure that his business can keep afloat?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Sorry. Do you know, in regards to, you know, you guys both work, I'm assuming. So in regards to, you know, when it comes to workplace discrimination or that, you know, let's just say you have a, you know, you got a, you know, a fellow colleague or worker that was, you know, being, you know, racially abusive and all that in a sly way, would you report that person?
Well, like bullying.
You can go first, it's fine.
Sorry, Ozzy, sorry, repeat that again. Sorry, I'll make sure I heard you.
So for instance, you know, in a workplace environment, let's just say if your supervisor or any person who works with you, you know, makes an inappropriate statement with regards to, you know, race, ethnicity, and all that, do you report that person?
Okay, I'll go first, I guess. Well, if someone was making racist remarks to me at work, would I report that? Yes, I would report that, because I want that person to burn in hell and get the fuck out, you know? So yeah, I would report it. But at the same time, before I report it, I would tell the person, you know, don't do that. You know, and you know, yeah, but I would report it, because that's disrespectful. I don't take disrespect. I'll report it based on disrespect. I wouldn't see it as a racist thing, but I'll report it based on that, and that person will get fired, definitely, because I know that I would just love to just chuck that person in the bin. So yeah, I would.
No, fair enough. I mean, I obviously, depending on what they said, but I definitely would have to speak to that person privately, say, yo, that comment's out of line. Don't ever do that again. But depending on the nature of it, then yeah, it could be, it will be reported. But first off, I have to speak to that person directly and say, you know, that shit is out of line and don't ever do that again or whatever. And depending on what it is, it don't even matter. I'll be like, I'll cuss him out or her out. Then it is what it is.
Yeah. And particularly when it comes to, in regards to a company trying to fire their employee, due to that offense and all that, should there be like proof or something like that? That person could do it in a sly way without anybody knowing.
And it happens. It's not like it's the first time it happened. I know there's loads of cases where there've been claims of racism, bullying, and discrimination. So it's not as if that doesn't happen where you can't prove it because it's just your word against that person's word. And a lot of things, especially like white culture, banter is what they call it, don't they? So it's a lot of banter, which they use these coded ways of saying certain things. So obviously once you understand white people, you understand how they operate and stuff. And it's just a lot of things are disguised as, it's only a joke, it's only banter, I'm only having a laugh, that kind of stuff. So there is that. It will be tricky for certain situations, unless it's like, blatantly obvious in front of everyone where you got witnesses where that's different. So
this is the thing I want to say though. It depends how you lead, how you enter and how you leave the situation, how you enter and how you walk and how you leave the situation. So if you enter a group of people and you're like a jokey character, you joke around and you play around, then people will take advantage of you. Like if you look at my picture, I look like a psychopath.
Yes, you.
So you really think people are going to try and, oh yeah, you little nigga? No. Okay, no. I mean, I told people in past live streams of stories when I was at uni outside of London, and this white guy had a black guy who was his best friend, and his friends would say the N-word, and then the black guy would get angry. I mean, what kind of rubbish is that? What kind of rubbish is that? Then so that's his fault for being friends with racist white people in Manchester. So it's just about how you carry yourself. And I don't really play games with people. I'm the sort of person, I go work, and I don't really talk a lot to people in work. I talk for maybe a couple of seconds and I'm back on the screen. I'm doing my work, and I'll keep to myself. I'm just that type of person. I'm not that sort of person that is all in a conversation. I keep to myself. And also, if you're just a very emotional person, I don't have emotion, so I can see the bullshit. So it just depends how you are, it depends how you are. And it depends on the management. If people are being racist, then the management is bad. So that shows you shouldn't work at that place. So this is why when you go to the interview, you need to check out the management, check out the team, so yeah.
No, agreed. Fiona, let me get you in this. You've been live in the chat. Welcome, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How's everyone on the panel?
I'm good.
Awesome.
Good. Yeah, I was just listening in the background, and there was a couple of points I wanted to make. I think it was Ozzy that said, "Is it discriminatory if you say that you're only hiring minorities?" The answer is no, it's not. If those people are underrepresented in the workplace that you're operating in, then this is actually encouraged to attract minorities. You'll notice in some job adverts as well that it's actually included, like for adverts for the police force, that kind of thing. So it's called an occupational requirement. So you can actually do that. So it's not discriminatory in the same way that if you're a two-tick employer that hires people with disabilities, if the disabled person meets the essential requirements for the role, then by law you have to actually interview them. So are we saying, because they're actually underrepresented as well, so what's the difference between that and Black people or minority people being underrepresented? Are we saying that, there's a difference in opinion there? I mean, what are we saying? That's my thought on that. And I actually agree with Unstoppable Force.
Really?
Yeah, surprisingly. I've had many senior people who've managed me that had never been to university, never got a degree in their life. The most they'd probably been to is a grammar school or private school educated, and they'd come out, and are in pretty senior roles. I think there was a quiz that we did at work one time, and they were asking, who are the least likely people to attend university, and it was actually white males. And still, if you look at their position within the workplace, you'd be surprised to learn that they're the least likely to attend university, and it's actually other minorities that are more likely to attend university in this current climate. So that'll also be an interesting point for you to note as well. But I do think the highest earners are Chinese males, and then slightly under within the UK, and then slightly under that is the white males. But yeah, they're not attending university at the same rate, actually. So a lot of it is on the job training, a lot of it is on the job support. I agree that they are more reluctant to support and help people within other minorities, and you kind of have to struggle and learn things as you go. But guaranteed, they probably had as much knowledge as anyone else. Any role that you start newly in, you're going to have to learn and build yourself up, and that's just the way it is. And hopefully you'll find people within management that will support you. So this whole thing about, you're going to fail in the role. Well, if you have the correct support, training and everything else, then there is no reason why, and they should not set you up to fail. But I understand that living in the kind of climate that we live in, that's always a possibility. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I mean, I think on the last point, I will say this about being set to fail. And I think that's why usually with the interview process, that's why you'll have a criteria, isn't it? So while you're right in saying at the end of the day, I've been on interviews, I've looked at the job spec, and when you get in the role, it's nowhere near like that. A lot of times the job specs are just completely vague and ambiguous. And when you get in the role, you know exactly what the role is. So I 100% get it. But what normally should take place, and again, I know there's nepotism, I know there's favoritism, not denying that. What should happen is certain skill sets should already exist at a certain level, which the interview or your CV would back up. So at least once you transition into the role with the support, you're not failing, as opposed to maybe regardless of support, you're just not that capable.
But what is this report saying? Is it saying that they're going to take on people regardless? If they're a dustbin cleaner, they're going to take this person on regardless? Or are they saying if they score a similar score to their white counterpart, that they will choose them over the white counterpart because of that underrepresentation? I mean, I don't believe that you would just simply choose anyone just because of their color. I think it would be a case of where if you're scoring the same as someone else, and I've seen this on panels as well, rather than picking the person that you feel will quote unquote fit into the team, which is usually someone that looks like you'll pick someone who is different to you, but who has equal, because it will equal up it's more of a level playing field. So I don't believe that they would pick someone who had no match to the essential criteria at all, who, was completely came out of a completely different field or anything like that. I think it's just a matter of, rather than picking someone that you're comfortable with, stepping out of yourself and picking someone who is equally matched for the role, but that is just a different color.
Possibly. I'm assuming they're not going to pick some random person just because they're ethically they fit the category. But I think it's just a case of, for example, if you have better white people because they're more proportionate in like certain fields where black people don't reside in, you're now going to sacrifice having creativity and the talent just because you're almost like, I need to get 10% of this, 5% of this, 50% of this, as opposed to if the best person's for the job, forget race, let chips fall where they fall. But now it's a case of we are purposely we need to look at who's in our field. We need to look at the race. We need to look at the gender. We need to look at the sexuality. There's like in my workplace, what they're doing now is that they're doing the same thing where they're looking at, particularly in my workplace, because it travels across so many different places in the UK where there's so many levels of diversity. And it's like, how do you balance that out with who's actually applying for the role, who's good enough for the role? And now it's just a case of, well, we just need a black person in this role, in this particular area. Therefore, we're going to really, really have to stretch the boundaries of, are you qualified or not? So
well, even with the recent, sorry,
I was going to say, in a perfect world, you'll be right. It'll be two equal people, one's black, one's white. But yeah, the black person will get the job, but they're perfectly qualified in the perfect world. But a lot of times, that's sometimes what happens. Sorry, continue.
No, I was just going to say that even with the whole BLM thing, you'll find that, they are kind of, stretching out into, the way they advertise and the way they focus roles to attract a more diverse crowd. So I will admit that it is happening in a lot of organizations with the whole BLM thing, that it is more conscious. Even on television, you'll see it as well. So I do agree that there is that conscious effort being made. Whereas before it would be like more of the same. But yeah, I understand what you mean. But then are we saying that people with disabilities, that two-tick system shouldn't exist then? Because obviously there might be people that meet the desirable criteria, but they're just being picked because they're disabled, they're underrepresented, and they just meet the essential. But what about those people that meet the desirable that are not disabled? Should they, they, in a way, they're getting some kind of nepotism practice as well. So are we saying that you should take that away as well for disabled people? I mean, they're underrepresented too. I know it's oranges and apples in a sense, but how far are we going to go? Yeah.
I just want to say, like in terms of the racism thing, because I did look at some studies online that say, there was one study, what was it? Yeah, one study where it showed the statistics of people who get first class, and barely any black people, apparently, even African descent, didn't get as much first class as white people. The study itself was a blog, and it had a study in it. It said that white people at University of Cambridge get first a lot more than black people and West Africans or Africans from
but
other countries.
What's the proportion of black people to white people at Cambridge?
Well, there's more white people, I guess, if that's correct.
But there's even stats in general, just in general. Forget like what university you go to. There's so many stats what does support and support forces point where a lot of black people don't get the same amount of not only first but 2-1. So 2-1s on first to the same level of whites and like Asians. So forget it, don't matter what university, as a whole, that's what the stats are saying.
This is like my solution, I think, and this is the reason, I think, the reason why some black people, if it's not to do with racism, just get a 2-1 or barely a first or 2-2. The reason why, I think, is because of distractions. I think a lot of black people, when they go uni, they're distracted, man. Because I do know one. I don't. There's this one guy that went to my school. He's not Nigerian. Right? He's some type of West African or Central or Uganda. I don't know. And he got a first class in something. And I don't know. He did well. And he's the sort of person who would just sit behind a computer and live in the box. Like he's like a Chinese boy in the box. Do you understand? He would just he's the guy behind the computer, because if you want to do the guy today that makes the most money is the guy that's sitting behind the computer. If you're not sitting behind a computer doing your work, you're gonna be broke. You're gonna be poor. You're not gonna. This is the world we live in now. You can do your GCSEs, you can do your A levels from the computer now. You don't need to go to sixth form to do anything. You can do it all online. So everything is here on the internet. You can get change your career. You can do all of that. So the more you waste your time, the more you go out to clubs and just socialize and waste time on holidays, that's time you could have used to develop yourself. And also relationships. I think a lot of black guys, they waste, especially Caribbean guys, they waste time in relationships that offer no substance. You're just wasting time. Like in your 20s, you shouldn't even be in a relationship. You should be climbing a ladder. You should be climbing a corporate ladder. You should not be in a relationship, because when I was in a relationship, everything was going downhill. I was coming up, going late to work. My money was going down. I'm overdrawn. I'm wanking every day. All this stuff. You know what I mean? Wanking in my sock, coming in the sock, then wiping the smegma.
All right.
But yeah, that you get the gist.
Nah, sounds like uni life, man.
don't want to get the stream taken out or anything like that. But no, I get you. And to be fair, on your point in general about just focus, I agree with you wholeheartedly about the focus and how we do need to be better focused and just climbing that corporate ladder. But sort of kind of back to the point, then I want to ask you this question, because I don't think I've asked this one. So, if someone told you got the job, say it's dream job, dream pay, everything, and you got that job based on they were looking for a certain criteria. You're a black woman, so you take two points. You're black and you're female. You're like, cool, or you're like, I don't know. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. And I would do my best to perform to the best of my ability. Are we saying that I didn't score highly, but I still got the job?
Yeah, they say you didn't score highly. Basically, a person was better than you and should have got the job over himself.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say, to be fair, we're not starting off on a level playing field to begin with. So yeah, I would say go for it. I would do it. I would absolutely accept it.
No, that's fair. That's fair. And to be fair, I'll be honest with you, I think 99% of people would do that. But yeah, it's just interesting to see how I say this conscience how we would take. I don't know. But yeah, at the end of the day, the thing is, I have no idea whether I've got certain jobs because I was the best person for the job. Because a lot of times, a lot of people use things such as, do they get along with you? Because people look at other things like how you as a person. Because I've realized this. When I went,
they call it, do you fit in with the team? Would you fit with the team? Yeah.
That is a big thing because my current job, I knew a woman who got the job, and she spoke to my then boss to basically talk about me and talk me up, because obviously they wanted to know more about me. And this was outside of my qualifications, what I had, just because they want to know, am I going to be a person who's going to be, let's be honest, that black guy? So they want to know who was I? And once they realized I wasn't like that, he was like, all right, cool. So I'm like, I do get it. There are certain things that people look at which isn't strictly based on your qualifications. Look at, does your face fit? Now, so I get it. But
and a lot of I know that Angleton's just come on. Sorry, Angleton, I'm going to let you speak. I'm going to step down after this. But
that's all right. It's cool.
Just one final point on what Unstoppable Force said. In terms of other races, especially sort of white people, they do have a lot of mentors. They are mentees for a lot of people, and they do get helped up a lot in that way, and that's how they gain most of their knowledge. I would say that most of them over the age of 50 haven't really had a formal degree or education in that way. You'd be pretty surprised when you actually get into the workplace and you speak to people, they haven't actually had any sort of formal degree or master's or PhD, and they're operating at senior levels within the organization. So I would say that I'm not sure if we are right and correct to look at degrees when we're what people are scoring in degrees, when a lot of those people who are over the age of 50 didn't have them, because the university only became popular in the last, I don't know, 20 years.
Tony Blair's whole mantra of everyone gets
exactly. So I just think that's an unfair gauge to have on it. But there you go. Sorry, I'll shut up now.
No, you're always welcome. So don't feel like you have to shut up or anything. So it's all good. Angleton, I don't know if I should call you CB Angleton still, but welcome to the stream, man. How's it going? And obviously, what are your thoughts so far on the topic?
Yeah, I'm doing well. This topic, I would say I've kind of got mixed feelings about it, because I can sort of see it from both sides of, but it's something I spoke about before. I think regarding like black people, because like, when you look at America, you've got affirmative action. And it's been proven apparently that African American kids have been dropping out of STEM subjects because of affirmative action. Like, they couldn't sort of handle the just how hard STEM degrees are. And I just think I think you mentioned something about maybe they're not sort of ready to sort of do the degrees or whatever, which I think there's probably truth to. I don't know. I think it could backfire. I think the main thing should be the communities need to be fixed first, so that there's sort of like cultural practices, so that you can get into these positions yourself. Kind of. I just think being given opportunities. I don't know, because it's like Fiona is also right. Like, I've seen many situations where you have people who, clearly white people, who got the job because they look and sound the part, but they're mediocre as fuck. So it's I don't know, man. It's a hard one.
And this is it.
Sorry. You want to go on?
Go on.
I like, the reason why I think that is, I think it's just because they have game, they have techers, you understand, they have interview skills. Like, when I got this job, before I got the job, I planned how I was going to be, how I planned the suit. I got a slim blazer, a muscle slim shirt, you know, trousers with the shoes, because some of these black people, when they go on interviews, they get the suit, but then they're wearing night trainers. You just ruined it.
Yeah.
You know, so I got everything. I got the whole package, and then I bought professional barber clippers and professional barber trimmers and clip trimmers. And even what you said in that other stream, because I have extremely good memory, you said you get yourself a normal haircut, which I assume is just one level with no lineup. You just cut it.
Pretty much.
That's what I do. I've got my shavers, I've got my clippers. I cut my hair myself now. I don't go to the barbers, and I look fine. I trim my beard down, and I keep the same look. That is gonna get you more results, and then you combine that with speech, you know what I'm saying, the element of speech to speaking, and that even carries on to dating. That's why you see some ugly guys with girls that are good. It's the same thing. So it's about, do you have techers, do you have game, or you just crying about color?
On that, you know, that you raise a really good point. And that was going to be another live stream about, particularly when it comes to black people, how we comport ourselves, how we articulate ourselves. Because when I hear black people who are like my age or older, and now I'm assuming they don't do this, but I bet they do. They use slang every 5 seconds, and I'm like, you do know that you're like 35-year-old plus, and you're acting like you're a 15-year-old child.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
So I'm just like, I want to know whether on the job you act like this, but not only on the job, but when you get to interview, or you're one of them who goes to an interview and doesn't know how to construct a sentence using subject-verb agreement, articulate himself, eye contact, know how to take interview. Could we have that? I don't know. I'm assuming you guys heard the STAR model, that situation, task, action, result, review, that kind of stuff. The whole flow of everything. I always want to know: are we just unprepared? Which is why we, you know, need this sort of stuff. I won't say need it, but are we? Basically, the face don't fit, but also not just the face, but we don't know how to play the game. We're not savvy enough. We're not. Does that make any sense?
You know what? Yeah, I just think you are right. Where the problem is, this is why I think black men are not taking, and mixed race men as well, you know, are not taking 1 year, 1.5 years out of their life to just work a job which they've been given the opportunity to do, to learn to cut their hair, to save their money, to maybe hire a personal trainer, get in shape, maybe retake their maths GCSE or whatever, or just retake, because you can retake, you know, you can get maths like functional skills level 2, things like that, or just take a year out to just be by yourself and just change and stay away from girls, stay away from your friends, and just focus on yourself. You will change everything. But black men are not, and mixed race men are not doing that. They don't want to do that. They want to waste time and just fill their brain with rubbish. And that's why.
Yeah, I agree.
So Angleton, let me ask you this question then. Let me ask you this. Would you take a job then? I've asked everyone on the panel. I will ask everyone who comes on. Will you take a job, say it's your dream job, get all the pay, knowing that you wasn't the best person for the job? You only got there because you ticked a certain box. Would you accept it? And would you be happy?
I hate to say it, but I probably would accept it. Yeah.
No, that's fine. That is fine. And you could live with yourself fine. You're happy with that. You're like, it don't even matter if everyone in the job don't like me because they know I got that job. Don't even care.
You know what? Yeah, I'd actually probably have to go through it to fully know, because, like I said, yeah, this is something I have thought about before, and I've always been like, no, I wouldn't accept it. I do have integrity to an extent, but then I don't know. I'd really have to go through it to really know, because it's one side of me says that I would, and another side says I wouldn't. So yeah, I don't know, man.
No, I hear you, because there's another thing which I'm sure everyone remembers The Apprentice, Lord Sugar's The Apprentice.
Yeah.
At the beginning seasons, what they did is it was a job position. So now it's the whole working with Alan Sugar as a business owner. But beforehand, it was you used to work for him in a job, and it was like £100,000, I want to say, paid job at his firm. And if you realize, a lot of the people who got that job, they left quickly. But one of them, I think her name was Stella, she was talking about the environment that she went into, because let's be honest, she was cherry picked from a summer show. So she didn't go through the whole, you know, rigmarole, that kind of other stuff. And she got absolutely, pretty much, she said, bullied. She didn't get appreciated, all that other kind of stuff. And I was like,
yeah, man.
She technically got a dream job, and it wasn't what she expected it. So I'm just thinking to myself, is that what could happen? I'm not saying it's worst case scenario, but
it could definitely happen. Like, especially in like a sort of corporate environment like that, which is very sort of like cold and just no time to really. Yeah, I don't know, man. But yeah.
I just wanted to make a point about impressions as well, because, for example, I think I think we try too much to we're kind of embarrassed by our culture. And I think, everyone should be able to code switch. I mean, I can certainly, I can put on Caribbean accent and then code switch like that. And if you look at people like Akala, for example, looking at him at first glance, you wouldn't expect someone like that looking, as he appears with locks and everything else to be so well read, so well spoken. But if you notice, when he's doing his Instagram lives, he's able to switch between the lingo and sort of that street slang. And then when he's on somewhere like, I don't know, Good Morning Britain, he's able to present in a different way. So why should you have to kind of, just to your point, White Matters, about people, using slang and lingo? That's part of our culture, I guess. So do you think that people aren't able to code switch between the two?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people don't know how to. And what happens when you code switch, a lot of time people view that as not being themselves. So what I've seen, what I've heard, where I've been at is they're not code switching. They're rebellious and stuck in their ways, and it seeps into everything. So I've seen a lot of it where it's like, oh man, if you could just play the game, you know what I mean? It's like just play the game, but they don't want to play the game. And I was going to ask, when it comes to Fiona, because obviously you're a black woman as well, when it comes to hair, you know what I mean? Because I've heard a lot of black women say that they do things in terms of their hair to make themselves fit in, which they don't like. The hair is a different way. They feel like, white people touching their hair. I mean, I used to have white people touching my hair back in the day, and all this kind of other stuff.
Oh,
it's
really?
like, yeah, it used to annoy me like crazy.
Yeah, I've had that.
I've only had that in the younger years, like in school, when none of us know any better. We're always got our hands in each other's hair, but not in the workplace. No. In terms of how I wear my hair, I just wear my hair. Well, my hair is chemically relaxed, and that's probably what's damaging it. But yeah, I just wear my own hair without any sort of weave or attachments to it. And I've got short hair, so it's not like I've got hair flowing down my back.
What
and
field do
that's
you
always
work in?
HR.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not as though I've got like hair flowing down my back or anything like that. I've never had a problem with my hair. I have heard and overheard conversations, because I work in a very female environment with a lot of women who are white. A lot of sort of sly, slick comments about people's hair when, for example, one of the other girls have come in with a different hairstyle and they're black. These comments about, oh, your hair's grown and all this nonsense. So I have witnessed that. But me personally, I've never had any issues with my hair, or being denied anything because of my hair or the way it's looked. So, but I've always well groomed. Yeah, but I've never felt the need to have to put on a wig or anything. So yeah, I can't relate to that.
No, I hear you. So no, fair enough. Choice TV, welcome to the stream. I know your first time on the live. I've seen you in the background, so welcome. I don't know how much you caught of the live stream, so let me know what your thoughts are.
I caught a little bit of it. I think you guys were talking about, like, would you go on like the BBC or whatever if you were given like an application or whatever to go on it, or whatever it was? Could you explain a bit more about it? Yeah,
so the stream is so the BBC are offering jobs to people just because they're non-white. I say that they're offering jobs, and it's only available to people who are non-white. And also what's happening as well in regards to students are able to defer the exams because of racial trauma. So what I'm trying to get at is a bit of racial preferences. And what I'm asking everyone is, would you take a job knowing that you wasn't the most qualified, but because you ticked a box, would you be happy with that? Does that make sense?
That's a hard one. If I knew that I only got the job solely based on my race, then I probably wouldn't end up taking it, because I would just think that I wasn't qualified to begin with, and I would know that everybody then knows that I wasn't qualified to get the job. So I just know that in my heart, I'm just taking this job just because, solely just because of my race, and I wouldn't feel comfortable about it. That's just me personally, but
even if it's your dream job, so this is your dream job.
If it was my dream job, yeah, that's a real hard one.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? You
But
know what?
I probably just won't feel comfortable just
So,
taking it anyways. No.
Okay.
you
So
know,
on top,
yeah, you know what? Like going back to the topic of the video, where like certain companies will hire you based on your race, and I've actually experienced a situation where I was working somewhere that was diverse, but one of the managers had a fetish for dark skinned guys, like really dark skinned guys. And she, like there was this one gay guy. He was very dark skinned, very tall, and she used to like him and as a friend or fancy him, I don't know. And she dated one Portuguese black guy and he's really dark skinned. Like, she used to take out a lot of rubbish on me because I don't know, I think she mistaked me for Indian or some shit or some other.
She was a white woman.
Yeah, some Lithuanian girl, some young Lithuanian.
Oh yeah.
So she was kind of like weird. She was just weird. Like she took, I think, because of my demeanor. I don't know. Like the way I don't know. Maybe I didn't like her and she didn't like me. But she was just a bitch. Just a weird girl. And she's just. This is the thing you have to be careful. Like even some of these managers, when they might only like a dark skinned guy. So if you're like my complexion, they won't like you, man. They'll just chuck you in the bin and keep you in the corner. When you try and speak up for yourself, they'll shut you down, man. So I hate when girls are managers. I'm a bit sexist. I prefer when men are managers. But that's just me.
Oh.
Can I
Say
ask
that
a question?
again.
Sorry. Do you know that lady? Was she heavy build? Should we say?
No, she wasn't. No, she's just normal.
Okay.
She
But
looked
she was like in her 30s, right?
No, she was a year younger than me.
I see. Okay.
Well, society's got a lot of weirdos out here, man. It's a lot of fucking weird people. So I keep to myself a lot.
Yeah, I even had a situation where this one guy that I know, he was working at Poundland, and then the manager wanted to sleep with him, and he left. Or he was Jamaican or something like that. Around my complexion, right? He kind of looked similar to me, and he just she wanted to sleep with him, and he just left. So this is the thing: when you work at rubbish jobs, you come into contact with people like this. So yeah. So this is why you have to make sure you get into it, get a good job, because even in IT, it's hard to get a job in IT. It's not easy. It's not easy. So, once you get a good opportunity, you might just take it and don't go back down to them rubbish jobs.
Well, it's just one of those things where, like, yeah, you need to there needs to be some kind of value about you. Like when you look, it's a bit off topic, but when you look at like serial killers, a lot of the times they target poor people because no one gives a fuck about them. So, like what you're saying, you gotta, you just gotta accumulate wealth, and not that everything will be better, obviously, but it's just your life. Prosperity is the key, man. It's simple.
Yeah, man. I'm the sort of person as well. I would say I'm an introvert. I mean, I understand the importance of being extra, but I'm the sort of person, I don't really have a lot of friends. I'll probably have like 2 friends or even 1. I stay to myself. This is what people don't understand, man. You're not going to become the person you want if you're friends with all these different people.
is that from the geneticist?
let me bring this to you. Let me bring this to you because I heard something when it comes to, again, this is where the title of the stream is, because do you know how people get put into certain roles? It's because they know certain people. So when I say being an introvert can be good, it also can be bad because you don't know the people you need to know. Because one of the things I get told by my boss, or my boss who used to be, was you need to be able to network and you need to know people who are of a certain level, because they'll be like, oh, I got a job. Let me speak to this guy. Let me speak to that guy. So sometimes I'll say this: what will hurt you is not knowing people, because what happens is you don't have a footprint in their mind, and they won't think about you when it comes to a job opening. Because here's the thing with a lot of roles, if you in the know, you know this. Before a job gets put on our internal jobs board, they already know who A, they want to hire for it, roughly, and B, when it's going to go up. So a lot of people know already before the job is even available to apply internally. So guess what? Because they speak and they know each other. So guess what happens? That's how certain people get jobs favorite what do we call it? Fast tracked than other people, because guess what? they know each other, they speak to each other, they socialize with each other, and then guess what? They have a network. So I will be careful with that. I'll be very careful.
Yeah,
It'll hurt
yeah.
you more once you get into the higher realms. It'll hurt you
Sorry,
more.
someone wanted to speak.
I was going to say, I think that's definitely true for higher jobs, like higher level jobs. But again, I'm not really too sure about that because I'm still pretty young myself. I work a pretty low skilled job, but I'm only 19 anyways. Yeah, I think for higher skilled jobs, I think knowing people is really important, and it's going to be really important for us if we want to get into those high level jobs to have like bigger connections with wider people who can help us enter those skillful jobs in order to get, you know, those high level jobs, if that makes sense.
You know what? Like I agree with that, but also the thing is, in my industry, you know, because this job that I got, I didn't know anyone to get this job, although I did network with a company to get this job. But it might, like, the thing is with me, when I say I'm an extrovert, I'm not the same extrovert as other people. I'm just very good at talking to people. I know how to talk. Like if I'm in a room with people, I know how to sell myself. I'm a very salesy person. I know how to sell myself. You know, I just know how to intimidate people. I know how to arouse a girl. I know how to do certain things. I can change myself. I can put on a certain personality. These are things that a lot of people can't do. A lot of people cannot do this because they're just one way. So when they say they're introvert, they're really, really bad as a person. When I say I'm an introvert, I just can't be bothered to be friends with a lot of people because I'm just not interested in other people. I'm only interested in myself. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's from a selfish perspective. But if you're an introvert from a lonely perspective, then yeah, you will fail in life because you want to be with people, but you just can't. So you're like you're basically like a doomer. What these black people say, you're a doomer, you're a loser, basically. So yeah.
Right, sorry, I'll just back there. But no. I do agree with what you said there on Supplemental Force, and this is it. But the thing is with certain introverts, with certain ones, they can't switch it on and off. Certain people can know when to be extroverted in order to get where they need to get to. Some people just don't know how to do it. So yeah, I do think depending on how much of an introvert you are, it will be a bit difficult. But yeah, no, I definitely get what you're saying. So one thing I wanted to sort of ask is the future then. So say, for example, this keeps on going on because it's been going on for at least over a year now. I've seen jobs in the media advertised, and you've seen shake up of, if anyone wants Sky Sports football, Soccer Saturday, they've been changing the personnel. So it used to be pretty much all white and all male. Now it's changed, female. You see a lot of different things. Do you see this as a gateway to more black people being in these roles, or do you see it as a tokenism, and then in the next sort of 2, 3, 4, 5 years is back to the same old, or do you see this as a legit way of changing things?
I just see it as an opportunity for the right black person to come into these roles. I mean, you're talking about presumably what I'd say the film industry, right?
Anything, because they're trying to do it for like a lot of industries where they're trying to get the numbers up. But what I'm trying to say is a false dawn. Is it just a case of, because they've done this before, this ain't the first time that they've tried this, and they won't have to keep doing it if it was working. You see what I mean? So I'm just thinking, is this just another one of those, it's just to appease us for a certain amount of years, or until this blows over and then back to
I think it is. I think it's it's kind of like a quick fix type thing. If they really wanted to sort these problems out the proper way, they would have done that. They clearly don't want to. It's like also, obviously, you know, Black Lives Matter, the George Floyd shit, you know, everyone's in their feelings at the moment. And it's a way to sort of, it's very temporary. I don't see it lasting at all. So yeah, that's what I've got to say on that.
Yeah, I think I see it in the, you know, in regards to the BBC thing. It might be, you know, the BBC, you know, reputation plummeted, you know, for the last year or so. And I think that, you know, I think the reason why they're doing that, perhaps it's a way, I think it's something to do with the culture wars or something like that. They are actually an active participant. You know, I think the BBC are active participants when it comes to the culture wars and all that, particularly the management.
You know what? That's a good point. I completely forgot to really bring that up. You're so right. A lot of people are,
you know, if you think about it, you know, white working class people, you know, when they see, you know, the job stuff and all that, and they say, well, you know, it's only for minorities and all that, they're gonna feel certain resentment towards them.
No, they are. And what's happening now is a lot of them are stopped paying a TV license.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are calling for the BBC to move and break away from the current service of you having to pay into a subscription-based service like a Netflix or be like an ITV where you may have advertisements. But a lot of people, because of this stuff, they're fighting back. So there's a fight back going on right now with the culture wars, obviously with the need for Black Lives Matter. A lot of people are unhappy. So I can see a lot of fight backs happening where it's almost like whoever can get in right now. Otherwise, you're going to be shut out if what I believe may happen. So you're right. I completely forgot to talk about how the backlash is going to completely take over soon because people are unhappy. If everyone saw GB News, that's a new news segment that started because of the culture wars. A lot of these things are happening because of these things are taking place. And this is just another example of, well, hold on. Does everyone see the same thing? Is everyone seeing a bit of a backlash going on legitimately?
Yeah, I do understand that. And I'll give you an example of it as well. You know, the BBC, I think just under a year ago, apparently someone said the countryside's racist.
Oh yeah,
something like that.
I heard that, yeah.
And that itself, and then you have people, you know, that weren't visibly, they were visible, they happen to be visible minorities and all that, living in the countryside, and they were like saying, well, you know, that's not true and all that. You know, I'm assuming most of the people in the countryside, you know, haven't saw a person of color, you know, in a large amount of time and all that.
I mean, it's the countryside. It's just trees, green, and openness. I mean, everyone has countryside in wherever they are at some place. So Jesus, there's some things I'd never understand why people say that kind of bullshit and think it's legitimate, but it hurts us. Now, some people don't give a shit. But I don't know. This is why we have these culture wars happening. This is why we have these backlash. This is why we're having people defund the BBC.
Yeah, and what I find quite interesting is in regards to culture and all that. I think a lot of, you know, I think not all, but I would say there's a certain amount of, you know, white people in particular that view, you know, particularly like groups like BLM and stuff like that, and the BBC, perhaps, you know, to some extent the BBC and all that, and a certain institution, they do see them as being in the favor of minorities and all that. That's one thing I've noticed.
Even they see them as like controlled by the liberals.
With the current political affairs and all that, it's still not enough and all that. You know, and the people saying, well, you know, talk about critical race theory as well, and so on and so forth. And it's, in a way, it's very dangerous in a way, because if you think about it, you know, like that could potentially, you know, erode, what do you call it? Societal harmony.
Yeah. I just want to say, a lot of people, like the thing is, if you're a guy and you're 20, let's say you're 28 or 29, okay, like, and you haven't sorted out your life. When I say sorted out life, you haven't even found like a decent job in your new career field, or you switched careers before then. At that point, you can't really teach your old dog new tricks. Just at a certain age, you can't teach your old dog new tricks. That's why you have these old men who are 29, 30. In my opinion, is old if you haven't got your life together, and they're crying about, my life is rubbish. At that point, you can't really teach your old dog new tricks. You can't really learn anything. I think after a certain point, that's it. I mean, your frontal lobe should already be developed by the time you're 25. So if you're still a teenager at 28, then it's pretty much over for you, man. Like, a lot of these guys are given opportunities to work certain jobs, and they're just still blaming it on racism and not taking the opportunity. So it just goes down to, these opportunities that the BBC is giving. I know some people that do get hired by the BBC in film, and they work in film, and they're dark-skinned black girls. They're black guys, you know, and melanated guys with gigantic noses and gigantic lips at that. You know, that's not black enough for you, because a lot of these people say, "Oh no, he's dark-skinned, but he's not black. Like, look at his lips." Oh, come on, man! Like the guy with the big lips and the big nose has the job. So what now? What else do you want? You want a blicker guy to be more convinced? Like, these people are getting hired, like, but because of the law of averages, you might have a white guy that might get the job, like, because he's just better than you. But it has nothing to do with the fact that he's white. But the BBC is very liberal, very feminized. I wouldn't say it's 100% racist. It's quite, in fact, it's quite homosexual. Anything homosexual is going to be not very racist. But that's just my opinion, man.
No, you are right. I will say this, because in the chat, someone was asking about, because I made a reference to LGBTQ, and you're right. A lot of firms nowadays, it's not just, everything is on the cards. It's not just, are we hiring people who are BAME? Are they hiring people who are LGBTQ? Are they hiring people who have disabilities who you can't visibly see? How, for the life of me, I can't remember what they called it, but I had a presentation. I was in a meeting where I was talking about, they're trying to, some disabilities like ADHD, flipping out, what's it called? Dyslexia, things like that, which you can't see. People are caring about everything. It's not just about visible ones, it's invisible ones. It is really crazy. So one thing I will tell everyone is, if you're black, you best use this advantage while you have to now, because if you don't, then you're screwed. If you can't do it now, then there's no hope for you any time or any place. So
should I just go to a job and say I'm dyslexic, and then give me the job?
You're black, you're dyslexic. I don't know if you want to claim LGBTQ, but claim it all. Claim it all. And then, you know what I mean? They can't turn you down in certain positions. They just can't turn it down. You
can say that though, can't you? Like, all you have to do is just wear, you know, we can wear like a skinny suit and all that, you know, and just wear a pink shirt and a tie.
I mean, look, listen, I think where I'm at with things right now, let me know if you agree. I mean, do what you need. Yeah, listen, do what you need to do to get where we need to get to. You see, like actors, you know, black actors, they used to complain because they used to have to dress up as women. And but what it is I don't know, some people did it because they had to get where they got to. Will Smith dressed up as a woman, Martin Lawrence dressed up as a woman. Who else dressed up as a woman? All these black actors dressed up as women. And I was just like, I don't know why they did it, but was it initiation? I don't know, but a lot of them are successful today. So make of that as you want. I don't know. What would you be prepared to do it to get where you need to get to? Would it matter?
It depends what position, isn't it? You know, if you know, the job that's supposed to be that I would like to, you know, get, yeah, might require, you know, a certain amount of competence and all that. And
I know, but
you know, yeah, but appearance might not be, you know, in every job, you know, interview, appearance is always taken consideration, but you know, they don't take that. It's not a primary aspect of it. They obviously have to take consideration the competency.
Are there any
whether or not that person's going to be, you know, as a team player, you know, you could problem solve stuff like that, you know, in a certain situation, how he's going to react, how he or she's going to react.
Are there any girls in this panel?
No, Fiona left, so I don't know if she's still in the chat, but there's no girls on the panel. Why?
I thought I heard a girl. Never mind.
No, it's me.
Oh, you're not a girl.
Yeah, I'm a guy.
Oh, whoa! I thought you was a girl. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, we've kind of been through this with Ozzy a little bit before, haven't we? Yeah. So he has a high inflection in his voice, but
damn, man, I was getting the boner. Now I'm joking.
Oh my days. But yeah, no. Did anyone else want to chime in on that? Angleton, what was talk about Troy TV, Unstoppable Force?
Yeah, all I'm gonna say is,
you
you're gonna have to conform anyways. You know, you see all these rappers all the time. They sometimes dress up in skirts and all sorts of weird stuff. So yeah, I think at a certain point you're gonna have to conform, whether you like it or not, to get where you want to get to.
No, fair enough. Angleton, what about you?
Yeah. Like in terms of conforming, right?
Yeah, or just doing what you need to do. I mean, I made the analogy. I made the example of black actors dressing up as women. I don't know why they did. They seem to just do it a lot. So I'm not saying that far, but seriously, would you do that kind of stuff to get? You know what I mean? That length.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an issue. Probably not myself. I think like with me, with I don't know. I mean, obviously I've said it a million times, and everyone is saying it. But okay, even if you look at the overall thing about even just going back to taking the opportunity, I don't think that this is a good thing, because also it doesn't teach people of color to sort of build their own and do for themselves. It's like an extension of this thing where we need to give you this, like you can't get it yourself. And then, like, obviously people do have to, what comes from that is that people do have to conform to an extent, but it's just like, I don't know, it's just like patronizing. I don't know if I'm sort of making sense, but
No, I do, and the thing is, I think we look at it as well, especially being black, as doubly worse when you have to conform. But I'm like, white people have to conform themselves, don't they? There are a lot of white people who I'm pretty sure don't want to have the hair in a certain way. I know this one white guy. He had tattoos all over his body and earring piercings, and it's one of those massive loop earrings that stretched out his earlobes and all this kind of other things. I'm like, man. But sometimes white people don't like to conform, and only sometimes white people can actually get certain roles if they look a certain way. So it's sometimes I think, do we just think too deep about it, as opposed to we need to get in as certain positions, get in, and then just make the best of it? I don't know. Do we deep it too much?
So when you say do we deep it too much, you mean sort of like overly conforming?
Yeah, well, overly think about it, and then it becomes, fuck that, I don't want to do it, and then you just mess up an opportunity. As opposed to saying it's what the whole world has to do, everyone has to do it, but we look at it kind of a bit different.
Yeah, I don't know. Does anyone else want to answer that? So,
yeah. What was the question? If you could repeat it, please.
Yeah, so it was a long question. I was saying, do we deep conform too much? Do we not like it because we think it's doubly worse because we're black, even though white people have to do it themselves?
You know what? Yeah, I think some of us do have a problem with conforming 100% to things. I think if you're a Caribbean guy, you probably won't care about it that much because you're whiteified, pretty much. You're whitewashed. When you're African or West,
I was going to say that.
Oh yeah, that's the thing, man. That's what happens when you're mixed with white, man. You can read each other's mind. No, but yeah, that's what happens. You're whiteified. Maybe not like me and CB Angleton, but you're pretty much. I mean, I'm probably for example, CB Angleton has probably 10%, 15, 12% more white than me, but I'm more whiteified than him because I'm Caribbean. Do you understand? So, but you see what I mean? But if you're Caribbean, you're whiteified. So you have no problem walking in. Hello, my name is Josh, and I would like to watch your position today.
Yeah, Andy Pete.
Yeah, like you won't care. But if you're an African guy, especially these mixed race African guys, they have pride. You understand? They don't want to whiteify themselves. They just don't want to do it. So it just depends, But
so what exactly have you seen with the mixed race African guys with them not wanting to what exact way?
So they for example, they just, it's like they don't like they don't want to 100% act white for whatever reason. Yeah, like example, I know,
basically like me, basically.
Yeah, like I've seen some of them. They might talk to white people for like 5 minutes, and then they're like, I need to get out of here and go to some black people. Now, like they're more with the black people. Like when it comes to, but when it comes to the Caribbean white mixed race guys, boy, they will they will be, the future is bright, the future is white.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Yeah. That's why I could never really connect with them a lot, because I find them a bit like strange. They're weird. Not all of them, but a lot of them are weird.
Yeah, they're. I mean, this is the thing, man. Like you've got the Caribbean mixed race guys and the West African mixed race guys. I mean, the Caribbean mixed race guys have got more white from the black parent. You know.
Yeah, that's true. We do better than them as well at school.
Yeah. It does seem like that. Yeah.
I saw the statistics.
Yeah, it just depends, man. You know, it just depends on the person. You know, but it's really, it just depends. You have to do what you have to do. I mean, you know, you have to wear a suit. I mean, there's things like even when I had the interview, there's things you can do to make yourself get the job, but people just don't want to believe it. They don't want to do it, and that's up to them. You can either follow the advice or just keep crying about racism when you know you haven't experienced it. But yeah.
No, fair enough. So Twist, you've changed your name again and your thumbnail, avatar, sorry. So welcome to the stream. I don't know how long you've been watching, but what have you made of today's topic and what we're talking about today?
I came in and I was just hearing about dress and I was just like, nope. And so whatever you guys were saying about the dress thing, I think you was talking about conforming and black people having to wear dresses to conform. And yeah, no, I think the question I heard, which brought me up on here, was to do with how far are you going to willing to go to conform, basically. And
yeah, to get the job, basically, because the stream's about jobs being offered solely to like ethnic minorities. And I just kind of took on a bit of a tangent, and now talk about what would you do to get your role that you want to do. Would you even care about it? Because if the panel kind of don't really care, most of them, a couple of exceptions, that they would get the job just because they're black. So I'm like, okay, then if you don't care about that, what else won't you care about? And that's where the dress came up. It's a bit out of.
Okay, yeah,
that's a good analogy, though.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, there's like levels to things, and it's like I think some people might fall into the trap of going too far with it, but personally, I wouldn't look at anyone sideways because they took a job because it's a diversity hire. Like, to me, I'd look at them sideways if they didn't, because my thing would be like, especially if they don't get a lot of job offers, because you got people out here complaining all day about, oh, there's no jobs, there's no opportunities. No, one of the number one things black people say is there's no opportunities. That's your opportunity right there. So if you don't take that, then, you know what I mean? Unless it was something where you can tell the company's a bit weird, or I don't know. But even then, like, I feel as though people seem like, because I've done jobs before, and when I was younger, I'm going to be honest, like, I know I'm still young, but when I was even younger, I've always had a very strong aversion to working for someone. I've never had an aversion to work. Like, I've always been good at working. I've just not liked working for other people in menial jobs. So, like, when I'd have to do that, it would put me off a lot. Of like, I'd go to a job and I'd do the interview and I'd do everything properly, but I wouldn't want to stay in the job. Like, I just want to leave. And it was a bad habit that I had. But and it's just sometimes like people have to just stick to things, you know, because and I think I mentioned this before, like several live streams ago, but one of the main things for me, because I think you asked me once why it matters about, like, if I would take a 9 to 5 now or something.
Yeah, I did actually.
And my answer was, yeah, if I knew that I could use it, which is what I would do, and it's what I think a lot of people have to do. You have to have a vision beyond yourself. So when people are doing these things like getting into these jobs and, you know, they have to wear a suit and they're like, oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, that's long. I don't want to work in curries. It's like, well, the reason working in curries seems so shit for £9 or £10 an hour, whatever it is because you're just thinking about that little piece of change you're getting for the month. What you're not thinking about is how you can use that to aid into something else, because you have no greater goal for yourself. Your only goal is to wake up, go to work, come home, and that's it. And that's not just black people, that's a lot of people in general. But I've noticed that with other people, there'll be more of them that think about a mortgage or something. To me, their ambitions are basic, but at least they have ambitions. So it's like you need to get that at least. And I think if you have that, you won't feel so bad about the little compromises, because you'll know that it's a sacrifice for a greater good in a sense.
No, I hear you. I hear you. It all makes sense. All makes sense. And
Just not a dress. That's too far.
but I know what I was going to say to you is this though. With all things, it starts off like, you know what, I'll make small changes because I see the bigger picture. Then it becomes a bigger thing, then a bigger thing, then a bigger thing. Then before you know it, you've gone to such a stage in life where you're willing to do pretty much anything to get where you want to get to, but you thought you would never do that sort of thing because until something's in front of you, you never know what you're going to do. So I'm like, why I agree with the premise is like, sometimes you think so. By the time you get to a certain position, your idea of I'm only going to do a little bit to some people is huge. So, but no, I get it. I get it.
I get what you're saying, and I've had this discussion with a lot of people, especially with some of the things I've done. I've told people for like, well, what if you was given an offer for £1 million to do this? Would you not do it? And I was just like, no. And they don't believe me. And
yeah,
what a lot of people don't understand is that like they've not been tested. I even say this about like just everything I hear on YouTube and, you know, red pill space and stuff. I always say it's convenience, not choice. And that's a lot of things in life. Like a lot of people are just not being tested yet. They don't know how they'd react in a situation. They've never had to deal with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, so they'll just be saying,
I'm laughing at Vincent's.
oh, no, I saw it coming.
Yeah,
But
man.
it's just like a lot of people think like that they won't do something, but they will if given the chance. Like, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people who would come up here and be like, oh, you ain't putting me in no dress. I ain't doing that. Oh, and then they'll do it. Do you know what I mean? But it's like,
yeah, that's facts.
£1 million.
like, do you know what I mean? I know that that's there, but it's like when I'm saying it, like, all I know is that put me in a situation, it ain't happening. Because again, like for me, because let me put it like this: if you said, well, if you knew that by saying no to the offer, you know, you can't get that opportunity, what, you wouldn't take it? I'd be like, no, because the way I think about things is, if I have to do that to get the opportunity, then the opportunity is not worth it, because it's not gonna. It's like, what else am I gonna have to do after that point? Then, you know what I mean? Like, nah, man, I'm not doing it. And I just know that about myself because I know I've got integrity. I've been tested in life already. I know that, but I also know other people crumble. So yeah, that there is a lot of cap where people say I won't do it, and they will, but it's up to the individual. They have to just be tested. I guess most people won't know until they're just in the situation.
And this is it. And again, I always say this: desperation depends what point in your life you're at. If some people are desperate, that's another thing which also is about testing you, because it's all right saying it once you're good, but once you're desperate, and once you're on your last legs, a lot of people do things they never thought was possible, what they thought they would do, but they are where we are. We are where we are now. So no, it's interesting, but no, I appreciate it. I'm honest with you. I'm getting a little bit that way where I want to kind of shut down the stream. I just wanted to kind of have a nice little stream to just talk about it. I do appreciate everyone coming up here. One thing I'm going to say is this, just before I end, because tomorrow I'm going to do, because I'm going to do an accent challenge, okay? Because I'm sick and tired of hearing people saying, where am I from? I'm from here, I'm from there, I'm from there. So here's what I'm going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow's live stream is just a nice, cool, chilled out one where I'm going to explain to you guys Northern accents, Midlands accents, and then Southern accents, just so you guys I can put this to bed. So tomorrow's stream is going to be a nice, cool one where I'm going to play a list of accents, and you're going to find it out. Come on, every single time. So that's tomorrow's stream. It's going to be nothing deep. It's going to be pretty cool. But yeah, I need to educate a lot of people in the stream and on the chat about this, because it gets to me. It pisses me off. But anyway, I kind of just want to sort of wrap up with last thoughts. So I just want to go around the table and just kind of conclude your thoughts. And by ask this simple question: would you be happy taking a job that you weren't qualified for just because you're taking a diversity box? And yeah, that's the question. Ozzy, start off with you.
I would, to be fair, but then again, I'm a deep thinker. I know for a fact that if had that happened to me, I'll probably feel very conflicted.
Okay, cool.
And perhaps I don't know. I don't know how I would deal with it, but at the same time, I would accept the job. It's one of those, dilemmas that would keep you awake at night. trying to find a way out from that, from that dilemma and all that. For a fact that if you said, listen, I want to, I don't want to take this job and all that later on down the road, then you're regret it.
Okay.
And it's just that, it's just that internal conflict that you have with yourself, whether or not you should have, accepted that job and all that. If you accepted that job, then then when you sit on that office and when you socialize with the people in the office, deep down you're gonna think to yourself that you had that job. Yeah, the reason why you got that job is that because of your protected characteristics. And if you say to somebody another other choice would be, for instance, or on the other hand, that would be, for instance, if you didn't take the job, and then you didn't take the job, and for some reason somewhere down the road you're regretting it and all that, and you think to yourself, hold on a minute, if I took that job and all that, then it could have opened a lot of doors for me. And that it's the opportunity cost in that situation that someone needs to take consideration. That person in question needs to take consideration all that.
Cool.
That's my opinion. That's how I would analyze it. The opportunity cost of that certain situation in question, which happens to be, being able to, in regards to how, for instance, being accepted for that job in question. All that. So
cool.
Yeah, that's the opportunity cost a person needs to take into consideration when applying for the job and all that. Particularly if you're a deep thinker.
All right, thanks, Ozzy. I didn't know whether he was finished or not because he kept going. So no, thanks, Ozzy. I do appreciate your comments. Angleton, what do you think?
I think thinking about it again, I don't know if I would. I think it depends on what kind of job it is. If it's a job that requires a high level of competency, or even like you were saying, sort of like a dream job type of thing, then I don't know, it'd be a very difficult ultimatum. Actually, yeah, I'd have to probably go through it to really know. Because like one side of me says no, and then, but it's like the thought of like what Ozzy said about like people in the office knowing about it and like having an issue with you, and I'd probably get very self-conscious and then even create scenarios in my head that are not really there. Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah.
But if you had to say yes or no today, obviously I'm not saying I'm going to hold you to it, but right now, is that a yes or a no?
Okay, no. No.
No, I respect it. So Twist, what's your thoughts? What's your answer to this question?
No, because I don't want to have a job. I'm joking, but I mean, I don't personally. I just think it's about, as I said earlier, it's just about like the way I've always looked at jobs is that they serve a greater purpose beyond the job. That's just how I look at it. I don't care about any of these particular jobs in and of themselves. I'm trying to do something of my own. So for me personally, I would take it and use the funds from it to do my own thing. I don't care what someone in the office thinks because I ain't sticking around your ass for that long anyway. So
let me change the question then, because obviously that's an easy out for you. Then let me change the question then. So if your business could get the right injection for it to grow to, let's say the next level or even the level that you thought was possible, would you then do something that you wouldn't morally like to do or ethically do to get to that position?
Nope. Not if it's something that goes against my integrity. No, I won't do it.
Even if the opportunity that you're looking for that you really that you'd be good.
No, because the thing with me is that like I'm trying to, because I understand what you're saying about it, but the thing, because you're asking me, I have to factor in my mentality into the situation. The way I would think about that in that situation is I can do it another way. That's just how I would think. I would think, well, someone's offering me 100 grand right now or a couple mil right now, and they're like, boom, we're going to take you to the next level. I'm thinking, if you see the value, one thing I know is that people tend to try and undercut you. They try to give you a bit less than what you're worth. No one's going to try and give you the exact amount you're worth. So if you're telling me you're giving me 2 million, I can probably get 10 million. That's probably what my value's really at right now. So so I know that there's someone else who will take the same opportunity, who'll give me something, and they ain't going to make me compromise, or they won't. But what I've got is something that's worth money, clearly, because you want to invest in it. So one way or another, I know that the value's there. So I don't need to take your offer. That's just how I would think, and that is how I think about things right now. I don't think about things like, oh, I have to just take an opportunity, because one, I'm young, so I've got time on my side. So I use that to my advantage. I'm like, well, I don't have to take your offer right now. Something could come along in 2 years, 5 years. A new technology could come out where I can just get around you. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just how it is. The stuff I do now, thanks to technology, I don't need certain people anymore. If I had tried it 10 years ago, it would be a problem. So it's like, I just don't think in that way, because I just always think of how much, I just think wider than that, I guess is what I say. I don't think just in the moment about it. So I wouldn't make a rash decision like that.
I know I 100% get you, but one thing about life has taught me, being older than you, is sometimes the opportunities do not come back again. So I 100% get, because obviously you're young, you have hope and you think, yeah, this will come out. Yeah, this will happen. Yeah, that happen. And then before you know it, nope. Or the opportunity you do get is nowhere near the one you could have got. But I 100% respect your decision. So I'm not trying to change your mind, but yeah, that's one thing I've always learned myself. But no, I get you. I get you completely. Troy TV, your thoughts on the question? Sorry, have I pronounced that right? Sorry.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Troy TV. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. So I say I probably wouldn't, but in the moment, as a young person, I probably would. I think I would think, what's going to benefit my prospects in the future? So if this is a job that's probably going to benefit my prospects in the future, then I probably would end up taking it. But then I would know deep down in my heart, I only got it because of my skin color, and I probably wouldn't tell anybody about that. So I think it would just really depend what the job is. If it's something that I actually want to go into in the future, or whether this will benefit me in the future. If it does, then I probably would end up taking it. If it doesn't, then probably just wouldn't. So yeah, I think it would just depend on that, really.
No. Thanks a lot for that. So no, and obviously I appreciate the fact that you're still young, so it's like you recognize sometimes like I'll still probably take it or not. But thanks everyone for their opinion on everything. It wasn't going to be a long one today. I'm actually quite knackered today. I don't know what it is. I've had a long one today, so apologies if I feel a little bit lethargic or come across that way. But yeah, today I'm just a bit knackered. So I didn't want this stream to be drawn out and too long, because sometimes it can really get that way. But thanks to everyone who has been listening. Thanks to everyone on the panel and those who have come up. Please make sure that you like the stream, share the stream, subscribe if you are new and listening on the playback. Tomorrow, again, I'm just gonna I just want to sort out this accent stuff. It's nothing crazy, nothing deep. But yeah, be there if you want to be. But until then, thanks everyone on the playback. Thanks everyone on the panel. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. So until then, see everyone. Have a good night. And we're out.
Right,
Bye, guys.
Peace.
See everyone.